Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526.
Hello and welcome to the Interior Show. I'm Aditi Singh and joining me today is a designer who's extremely modern. And by that, I don't mean just her style, but also her sense of design and her unwavering focus on the practical aspects of designing. Please welcome Jannat Wasim, a leading designer of the young brigade who's made a name for herself by infusing cultural tinges into her modern sensibility.
Hi, I'm Jannat Wasim and I'm an interior designer. I design interior spaces and extend my design into lighting design, furniture, fabrics, and product design as well. I have been practicing since the past 3 years now with my own studio. I've been in this field since the past 6 years. So my signature style is very contemporary and modern. The most favorite part of my job would be the beginning and the end. The beginning is actually when I speak to the client and I see the space. So that's when actually the ideas and the creativity starts flowing, and you draw stuff and you put it onto the mood board. So that is one. Now the next is actually when the work is done. So that day is a lot of fun because I see the hard work that's gone into it. So that is extremely fulfilling and that's the most satisfying part of the job.
Hi Jannat.
Hi.
Welcome to the Interior Show.
Thank you so much.
I have to say that it's refreshing to enter this house. The white color has suddenly woken me up.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about this space that we're in right now.
So this is a 3 BHK apartment. I'll be taking you through the whole space, moving on. Now, the white that you're referring to is because the client brief was to have this space, which is very pristine, very clean, and looks very large.
So tell us a little bit about the client and how you accommodated their lifestyle through your design.
So what the clients actually wanted, they wanted to do something different and something fun. And they also wanted to get in different cultures into their space. So what we did is we used this Turkish theme. We've used a very cottage theme in one room, a modern take in one room, and a Victorian theme in the other room to kind of get this variation.
I've also heard that you design your own furniture, light and textiles. Tell me, how do you customize that for your clients?
So when I started designing, for example, like I told you, this was one of my initial projects done by my studio. So what we did is that we designed the furniture, the furnishing, some of the textiles, also the marbles again. So all of this is custom designed to kind of fit in and coordinate and be cohesive with the whole space.
And on that note, I just cannot wait to have a look around this house. So let's go ahead and see what's there.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So this is the master bedroom. So the client brief here was that they wanted to give the biggest room, which I'll take you to later, to their daughter.
Okay.
So what happened is that they were left with the smallest room.
So how did you go about making it look like a master bedroom?
See, what I did was I continued the white flooring. Now the white flooring works very well here because the room is so small. So the space instantaneously looks bigger. I've used different kind of veneers. So I've used a dark but predominantly only in an area which is very minimal. Now I've used a lighter color on the wall and I've kept all the doors in the same oak finish.
Okay.
So I get the balance at the same time I'm getting this very interesting variation happening.
Also, I noticed, Jannat, that the blanket, if I'm not wrong, has a marble, some sort of a marble print on it.
Yes, it does. This was sourced from a local Hong Kong designer.
Okay.
And I think it goes very well with the monotone of the room. So it's giving this very nice modern black and white character, and the textiles on my cushion covers are from Pure Concept.
Jannat, another interesting thing I observed was that none of these doors have handles.
So what I've done is that I've flushed all the handles into the door.
Okay.
So the wood has actually been carved out and that forms a handle. Another thing is that I wanted maximum utilization of the white wall to create something very different. So what I would like to call this is art, but something which is very customized only for the client.
I want to see where else you've done it in the house. So let's go ahead.
Yes.
And I see we're back in the living area. Because this is perhaps the most attractive room in the house.
So what I did is that I got this very nice texture. So we call it the zinc texture, and what we did is that this texture kind of makes the whole space, it gives it a lot of character. At the same time that any cracks, like these minor cracks or anything that come, are not visible because of the texture and the effect that is given.
So tell me more about the detailing that has gone into this swing to make it so special.
Right. So like you can see the side tables, I've sourced these from Chor Bazaar.
Okay.
So in fact when I went there, I saw and I picked up these tiles.
Okay.
And what I did is that I used these tiles to create a custom swing for them.
Oh, well, that's quite a smart way of using
So,
design.
it also looks seamless and it also kind of blends in. And yeah, right behind the swing, you have the door to the biggest bedroom in the house. So the handle there again, like you've seen in the other rooms, they are flushed. But here I've brought that out. So the same tiles again are incorporated into the handle.
Okay. So, Jannat, now I've been dying to talk about the sofa here. I think it is the most attractive piece in the living space. So, where did you get this from?
Okay, so actually, like I mentioned earlier, I've designed all the furniture in the house.
Okay.
So, yes.
This has been designed?
This has been designed by me.
Okay. What is the fabric that's used?
Okay, so I've used a lot of linen. I've used a lot of jute. The same thing that I've used on the carpet is this lovely raw jute that I've used. So again, it brings out a lot of texture. So the moment light hits the fabric, you see something very interesting happening. And to get a little bit of fun and color which is there in the tiles, I've sourced these wonderful cushions from Yamani. These would cost around 500 to around 1,000 per cover.
So, Jannat, I believe there's another space left for us to explore. So let's go ahead and see what you've done there. Wow, Jannat, this room is starkly different from the rest of the rooms that we saw in the house.
They wanted a very vintage and something very Parisian and very delicate. And I've customized this bed to give a lot of moldings and to give a lot of detail and embossing, like you can see.
Okay.
What I've done to actually offset it, we've used lace at the borders because we want to kind of blend in the femininity into the masculinity of the design. When we talk about the bed linen, yeah, I've used a lot of texture here. I've carried forward the linen and the jute texture. And if you see the cushions predominantly, there's again a lot of embossing happening white on white.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have used some color to get that little burst, but at the same time, it's kept very pleasant and very subtle.
Okay. Also, I noticed you've used really interesting knobs that add character to the cupboards here.
Correct. For the knobs, like you correctly said, which I've sourced from Chor Bazaar again, they are very easily available, and I think it's a very easy and a very nice way to just get a peppy look Yeah.
It's quite chic. So now tell me about your choice of wooden flooring.
This room is big enough to afford a dark floor. So we've actually used an engineered wooden flooring in a herringbone pattern. It's modern as well as it draws back from culture. Is the perfect blend, I feel. And the theme has been carried forward to the bathrooms adjoining it as well. So if you see this bathroom, it has similar colors. It has a bizaza tile. Now bizaza tile is something like a mosaic, something very pretty and something very delicate. So we've done this pink to white gradation which happens.
Well, that makes for a perfect daughter's room. Jannat has brought me to this lovely compact house, and let me tell you, standing in this living area, it doesn't even feel like it's a 1 BHK. And joining me today is Jannat's sister Sana, the owner of the house. Welcome to the show, Sana. I mean, I can only imagine your reaction when you saw this place for the first time after Jannat did it. How did you feel?
I think there was a complete transformation, and this house I feel is a piece of art. When my friends come here, they all say it like this house makes a design statement.
So Sana, what was your brief to Jannat?
Actually, the space was very small. So I told her that, anything that makes it look a little larger, more spacious, and it should be functional and easy to maintain because I'm working and I'm not at home most of the times, and I entertain a lot of guests, so I wanted something which is aesthetically also very appealing, which obviously it's her USP. So yeah.
And I think she's accommodated that in a very fantastic way because I see there's an open kitchen here.
Yes. And the entire idea of us having an open kitchen was because otherwise it becomes very small again. So when you have an open kitchen, this becomes a part of the living room itself. So it makes the living room look really big.
And Sarah, tell me that, can you recall any one incident or a topic on which you guys were poles apart? You just were not ready to agree.
Actually, the tiles, when I saw them, I thought that it doesn't go with the rest of the decor, because my taste is purely like, I'm very fascinated with Arabic and Persian and Moroccan. When you see the entire house and the bathroom, it looks very separate. But then at the end of it, like, it all looks
It turned
amazing.
out, it had to, because otherwise you would have had a difficult time living together. Alright, so Jannat, tell me more about the decor here.
Okay, so when we're talking about Moroccan theme, there's a lot of geometry, intersections and all of that happening to create these beautiful floral shapes, or these different kind of very Arabic forms. So from the stools to the footstool to the pendant lights that you can see here, and the entire flooring inlay has been done using those patterns. Apart from that, also the colors and the materials. So there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of brass, there's polished copper that I've used to bring in that warmth, that glamour, and that kind of that glitz that she really loves. So we've created this sofa here. What I've done is I've given her a lot of storage beneath. So this can be taken out and you can use the mattresses and put it back, and it's extremely light and easy to use. Now apart from that, we have the bookshelf and we have this huge statement chair, and it has a complementing footstool to it. And the footstool is for her to relax and chill when she's seeing TV. And she told me that she wanted a balcony kind of effect. Now we couldn't give it because of the structure, but we definitely created a complete ledge for her to actually sit on.
Clearly she's kept all your comfort in mind and designed the space. So, but once again, just run me through the bookshelf here. Is this also a kind of space management technique?
What you must have seen, or what the viewers must have seen often, is that you have these large statement mirrors, floor to ceiling mirrors, which are inclined. So I took that as a reference point and actually gave it something like a photo frame. And you have these shelves inside, and I mean, she's put her artifacts in, and she puts her flowers, and she puts her books. So it's a multi-purpose kind of a bookshelf.
So Jannat, since she said so much about this house, I just cannot wait to see what's beyond this living area now.
Please come, I'll take you through.
Let's go. So I see this is the open kitchen. Well, Jannat, tell me that in this project, you've been able to achieve a kitchen which is so spacious. How did you achieve this?
So when we talk about the dimensions and we talk about the actual size of the cabinets, these are standard sizes. But by giving a white application, especially in a gloss finish, what we're doing is there's a lot of light play happening. So there's a lot of reflectiveness. So the reflectiveness is essentially what is giving you this big open feeling. And to offset that, and so that it doesn't look cold and different from the warm living room atmosphere, I've given these custom beautifully designed handles in brass. Also, one more thing is that because I like to maintain the same element throughout a space, I've used the same Moroccan pattern in my floor, furniture, ceiling, like I'll show you, pendant light, and as well as the custom designed backsplash. So we've again used very neutral tones, but we are bringing out the entire aesthetic appeal in the kitchen as well.
Now tell me, this is for kitchen where she's continuously using items, but what about those objects that are not regularly used? Where have you incorporated space for them?
Right, so I'll just take you through the passage leading to the bedroom. And the ceiling is where I've done all of that.
Alright,
so let's go. Yeah. Okay, so we've entered the passage now, which leads us into the bedroom. So if you see now here, we've got a trap door. So these are ceiling doors which are made. So 2 flaps which open, and we have 3 of these. So you can actually have storage all across the space.
And also, I mean, it blends seamlessly with the
rest of the space. So that's what actually we wanted, and we've given these small spotlights to light up the floor, which is the highlight of the entire house.
Tell me about the floor here.
So the interesting part about the floor is that it starts from this end. It kind of moves forward and continues
continues into the living room. So these are actual copper inlay putties which we've used in a white composite marble. It is actually 1/3 the price of a natural white Australian marble. Another very important thing is that this is the bathroom wall. So this again is prone to moisture. So what I've done is I've used these very interesting, it's a new kind of a concept, there's a company called Systex. So they create these wallpapers made out of glass fibers. So what that does is that it does not allow you to ever get a crack or any moisture to seep into the space.
So tell me about these pieces of art here. This clearly breaks the monotony in the passage and accentuates it. So where did you get these from?
So I picked up these 3 paintings from the Dubai Art Gallery when I was there last time, and these are a housewarming gift to my sister. And yes, she practices Buddhism, and these are 3 close-ups of the Buddha. Okay, so now moving forward, this is the bathroom. And let's move to the bedroom now.
Sure. Well, Jana, the room is beautiful, and now I see where your love for geometry and angles come from.
This bedroom was something very close to our heart. I've used wood in the room, but a very light wood on the floor. Wooden tile, in fact. Picked up from Spain.
It's a tile.
It's a tile, yeah. So it's a tile because she wanted something to be very, very maintenance free. I wanted to continue the Moroccan theme and work with patterns and these geometries that I've used, but I wanted to use it on the ceiling this time, since I've used it in the rest of the house on the floor.
And again, another angular, if I may say so, pattern there on the headboard.
I had to design this layout because I didn't have too much width in this room. So what I did is that I create these angular wardrobes. Now what these angles do is that it actually makes the space not look very obtrusive. Right, so that was one thing. Another thing is that the center had to be highlighted. So I use this very Art Nouveau kind of a design to come up with that. In fact, this bedspread is also something which matches and goes because of the subtle geometry and this dark color, which I've sourced from Yamini. So I'm very happy with the entire outcome.
Jana, that's a really interesting shade of gold. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay, so what I've done is that I've used this textile, a very lovely sheen it has to it. It's a champagne color. There's also another application of champagne that I've done in the living room, which I'd like to show you. So let's go there.
So Jannat, this is the champagne gold that you were talking about. Tell me something more about this.
The reason why I did this is because as you enter the living room and you walk into the house, the first thing you see is this. So what I did is that I used this as a frame and kept this as the opening which looks into the kitchen. I've used different elements and different materials to get that into play. So if you see, there's this lovely black Makina marble which is polished. And again you can see I've used a lot of weave because I love that shape. And it continues in all my patterns, again derived from the Moroccan theme.
Well, on that note, Jannat, thank you so much for a beautiful tour around this house. And as cheesy as that may sound, but you have clearly turned this strictly functional place into Jannat.
Thank you.
Today we're going to talk about an element that could literally make or break the exteriors of your house. And we're still with Jannat, who's extremely passionate about this topic, who's going to give us some insights into it. Jannat, tell me that when we usually talk about grills, right, it's usually a very mundane element of the house. How do you look at it?
See, I draw a lot of my inspiration from origami. So definitely, yes. Every room, say it has a particular theme. The grill will be designed according to that theme. But when I say origami, I'm going to show you a couple of screens which I have with me, which I've done. So if you see this screen and if you see the way it shuts and it opens, there are a lot of vertices that you see. So it creates this kind of a 3D effect. You can also just draw the wireframe out and use that into grills, right? And it looks so pretty.
So these days, Jannat, in the new buildings that are coming up, I don't really see grills. So are they relevant in today's time or in the future?
See, grills are extremely relevant if they are a part of the building elevation and design. Anything to do with safety and security, you have to install a grill.
So how do you balance security and the aesthetic part of grills?
See, the security part of it remains intact because I need to see the distance between the sections that I'm creating, and definitely you can't actually pass through it. So that's very important. So every form that I design, that is the key element that kind of drives my proportions.
So tell me something about the design of the grill. Sometimes, the design is not too appealing and you can't really do much about it, especially in rented apartments. In that case, how do you deal with grills?
So if you already have grills installed, yes, I'd like to say that the easiest thing you can do is to give it a new look probably and make it look fresh. You paint it again. But yeah, if you're looking to give it a new form, you can just probably remove a certain portion, design that would be enough, and then weld it back into the grill. That's the beauty of it.
And is that very easy to do?
That's very easy to do.
So tell me, how have you experimented with grills?
So in some of my projects that you've seen, actually we've done like a bird cage incorporated into the grill. So you have this 2D and then you have a 3D actual circular bird cage, which is painted in a different color. So that was something very different.
And Jannat, now it's time to address some of the viewers' queries. They've been waiting for you to, give some insights into their interior design problems.
Yes, absolutely.
So our first query is from Neeraj. Neeraj says, the grills in my balcony catch rust frequently. What can I do about it?
What I would recommend is that let's first come down to scraping the grills. So that's how you get rid of the rust. And after that, we apply a coat of red oxide. And post that, I suggest let's paint it with the enamel grill paint, which is rust free.
Let's move on to the next query. Shalini from Kolkata writes that she admires Moroccan prints and her sister loves modern prints. They both share the same room. How do they incorporate both the prints in the same room?
So I think we should keep probably the cushions and the accessories or certain artifacts in a Moroccan theme and those kind of colors, because those colors are very vibrant, and very rich in terms of culture. So when we talk about the elements and the clean lines, that can also apply to probably a wallpaper on the wall or the flooring or the ceiling and the lights. I think that should be kept more modern and more clean and simple.
So the next query is from Charles. Charles says that his cousin has moved from Spain and he wants to do up the house in a manner that reminds his cousin of Spain and does not make him feel homesick.
See, Spain is so rich in culture and in heritage and such a diversified and large country. So what I like to sum it down to is that let's keep it open. Let's have a lot of openings there, because there the houses are very open. They have predominantly white used and they have a lot of wood used. So they have a lot of walnuts and oaks. In terms of colors, you could probably go with a very vibrant violet and blue and keep that entire tone very say a cool and subtle color scheme. Also, if you want to get very fiery and do something fun, you can also go for an orange and a red, where you have a warm color palette, and just spruce it up with a lot of plants.
Well, let's move on to Shankar's query now. He says that he has an entire bare wall beside his main entrance door. He wants to accentuate it. So how can he do that?
So to address that, I feel you should do some kind of a very subtle and interesting paneling. Probably you could go in for a slate cut CNC routed paneling, so you get this lovely 3D effect, and it's so easy to do because they're just like the small pieces that are just placed together. So it creates a very nice feel. And yeah, to finish it, let's just give a little spotlight or something like that. So that wall is not left bare, but actually it is the focus.
Well, that seems like a great idea. I think I will certainly incorporate it in my house. And on that note, Jannat, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. And I have to say that your unique style of infusing culture with modern design is something incredible.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, I loved hanging out with you today.
Thank you.
From the most fancy to the most functional, it's all about design if you do it in style. Well, that's all we have for you on the show today, but next week we'll be back with yet another exciting episode. Till then, goodbye.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.